My wife is a high society lady, as cold as an iceberg by day, but at night, she always loves to snuggle into my arms. Like right now, she's in a white shirt and high heels, standing in the company's conference room, coldly questioning the head of the marketing department. This is the fourth time you've delayed the proposal. Do you think I should trust you one more time? I sit in the last row, looking at her cool side profile, silently counting in my head. It's been 10 hours since she last kissed me. As soon as the meeting ends, she turns and walks over, her eyes sweeping past me with a "who are you" look. I stand up with a smile and follow her footsteps, whispering in her ear, "CEO Jiang, can we get off work early tonight? I want you to kiss me." Her steps falter, the tips of her ears quickly turning red. Without looking back, she just coldly throws a sentence at me. "If you're not a good boy, you don't get a kiss." TSK, my wife is always like this. She was the one holding me tight last night, yet the next day, she pretends to be incredibly reserved. But I just can't get enough of her like this, and even want to be kissed by her for a lifetime. She walks forward quickly, and I hurry to catch up. "CEO Jiang," I call her in a low voice. "The way you handled that meeting just now was so cool and impressive, it almost scared the soul out of me, your driver." She glances at me sideways. "How many times have I told you not to joke around at the company? Then we can joke at home?" She stops, her gaze a warning. "Lin Yuchen, it's over." When my wife calls me by my full name, it usually means one of two things. Either she's angry at my mischievousness, or she's about to kiss me. I puff out my chest, prepared for both possibilities. But instead, she leans in slightly and says in a low voice, "Wait for me in the garage. No backing out tonight." My heart skips a beat. "Mrs. Jiang, are you suggesting what I think you're suggesting?" She turns and leaves with brisk steps, leaving me standing foolishly in the company hallway, her nonchalant confession still echoing in my ears. At 9:30 p.m., she gets off work and comes home. I'm in the kitchen making her favorite pasta. She walks into the kitchen, having changed in her loungewear, and hugs me from behind, her voice soft. "Was my performance today good?" I laugh. When CEO Jiang speaks, my knees go weak. She looks up at me, blinking. "Then shouldn't I reward you a little?" I turn around. Getting a kiss from the great Miss Jiang is my biggest dream today. She stands on her tiptoes and gives me a light kiss on the chin, her voice like a purring kitten. "Then you have to be an even better boy." I hold the pot with one hand and her with the other. "Good boy or not, why don't you come and find out?" The kitchen steams up, and I become more and more certain. In this life, I've completely fallen for her, willingly and crazily in love. The next morning, I'm frying eggs in the kitchen while she's in the living room, tying her tie. "Honey, come here." Her tone is matter-of-fact, like she's ordering her secretary. I walk over with the plate. She takes my hand with one of hers and meticulously ties my tie with the other. I stare at her face without moving. "Are you going to blow everyone away in the conference room again today?" Of course, she looks up after finishing, her voice cool and clear. "Who told me to be CEO Jiang?" I can't help but lean down and kiss her. "Thank you for your hard work, CEO Jiang. Please take good care of Mrs. Jiang's exclusive driver and tie rack." She doesn't smile, but her ears silently turn red. I walk her downstairs. Just as I open the car door, my phone rings. It's a video call from my mom. I'm about to hang up, but she presses down on my wrist and glances at the screen. "Answer it." I pause, hesitating for 2 seconds before picking up. In a video, my mom looks unhappy. "Lin Yuchen, you haven't been home recently. What's that about? Your dad isn't well, and you don't even care about the family." I glance at Jiang Yuan. She's leaning back in the passenger seat, looking calm and unbothered, saying nothing. I lower my voice. "I just got promoted. I have a few more projects. Once this busy period is over, How much can a manager at a small company have to do? Don't tell me you've gotten a big head just because you married that high society lady from the Jiang family. It was the blessing of your ancestors that she even looked at you. Don't forget your surname is Lin, not Jiang." My fists slowly clench. Jiang Yuan suddenly speaks, her tone calm. "Auntie, I'm here. You're right for Yuchen to have married me. It's truly me who hit the jackpot." There's a 2-second silence on the other end of the video. She continues slowly. "But his surname is Lin, not Jiang. The person I married is him, not his resources." I can support him, and he can protect me. We're equals. My mom's face falls and she scoffs. You've got some nerve. Jiang Muyun smiles. Thank you for the compliment. The video call ends. She looks at me. Do you want to go back to the Lin family home for lunch today? I bow my head and kiss the back of her hand. As long as you're here, I'm not afraid of anything. The car slowly drives out of the residential complex. The sunlight falls on her face, but her gaze is even more resolute than the sun. I knew this marriage was never just my one-sided success story. It was she who took my hand and walked with me out of the mire and into the light. I was originally just an ordinary project manager. My promotion was thanks to Jiang Muyun privately investing a sum of money some time ago to support the smart logistics system pilot project I was leading. But neither of us ever mentioned this to anyone, because she knew I had a man's pride, and I, in turn, knew she had the confidence to be discreet. It was just that during the company meeting today, something went wrong. Lin Yuqin, you did a good job on this bidding proposal, but these financial figures, why do they resemble the Jiang Corporation's budget? The one speaking was the vice president, an old fox who had always wanted to kick me out and promote his nephew. I looked up at him, my gaze calm, because the Jiang Corporation is our partner. I estimated their cost model in advance and ran simulations. He sneered, what a coincidence. I'd say you got your hands on the Jiang family's internal data, turning this project into a husband and wife team, didn't you? The conference room fell silent. A few directors exchanged glances and began to whisper among themselves. I knew Jiang Muyun's status was too prominent. As soon as I showed any sign of success, I would be labeled as someone relying on his wife. I took out a USB drive. I can demonstrate the entire modeling process on the spot, including the source of the initial algorithm, the operating environment, and the submission timestamps. If any fabrication is found, I will resign immediately. The vice president's mouth twitched, but he said nothing. The president nodded. Show us. I connected to the projector, displayed all the data models, and used the system logs to demonstrate the timeline. After the demonstration, the room was silent for a minute, and then someone started to applaud. Well done. The president glanced at me and nodded slightly. Lin Yuqin, next month you will lead the team to take over the national smart logistics sector. I let out a long sigh of relief. As I walked out of the conference room, I received a message on my phone. Mrs. Jiang, heard you schooled a bunch of old men today? Me, yep. Your husband's pretty awesome. Huh? Mrs. Jiang, makes me want to kiss you. Me, we agreed it's my turn to kiss you tonight. When she came home that evening, I was making dinner. She walked over and hugged me from behind, burying her head in my back. I saw what you were like in the conference room. Handsome. Makes me want to marry you a second time. I turned around and cupped her face. Then should we go get another marriage certificate tomorrow? She leaned against my chest and nodded gently. Her breath was warm, but I could feel my own heartbeat quicken. I knew that I had finally carved out my own path in my career, but the one who truly gave me strength was the person holding me tonight. This world is too complicated. Only she is my most certain answer. Her crisis came more suddenly than I had imagined. That night, we had just finished dinner when she took a call, and her expression darkened. What's wrong? I asked casually as I cleared the dishes. She looked at her phone, her fingers trembling slightly, but she forced herself to remain calm. The company's public account was hacked. What? 3 anonymous articles were pushed to the main page. The titles are Jiang Muyun, sleeping her way to the top, the Jiang Corporation's operations under a nepotistic marriage, and her success is all thanks to men. My pupils contracted. Have you found out who did it? She shook her head, her gaze as cold as a blade. The IP address was routed through foreign proxies. The tech department is investigating. Watching her hand tighten around her phone, a sharp pain suddenly pierced my heart. She was such a strong, proud woman who would never bow her head before outsiders. But at this moment, I knew she was using all her strength not to break down. I went over and hugged her. Muyun, you don't have to put on a brave face for me. She leaned on my shoulder, her voice so soft it was almost inaudible. I'm not scared. I'm just furious. The next day, public opinion exploded. A large number of paid commenters appeared online, controlling the narrative and dragging her down from her pedestal. Some dug up old grievances, some fabricated scandals, and some even started rumors that she had once used her resources to make an ex-boyfriend famous. The most ridiculous part was that the partners she had desperately protected and supported all fell silent, one by one, as if they suddenly didn't know her. She was isolated on the board of directors, and the stock price fell for a time. Someone proposed removing her from her position, saying the Jiang Corporation cannot be led by a woman who survives on scandals. That night, when I found her, she was sitting alone in her office in the dark, a stack of discarded meeting materials beside her. I walked over without a word and just pulled her into my arms. She suddenly choked back a sob, like a string on an instrument that had been stretched too taut and snapped. Lin Yuchen, I think. I can't hold on much longer. I gently stroked her hair, suppressing the ache in my heart. Then let me hold on for you. I called upon the technical team for my project group and had them assist the Jiang Corporation's IT department in tracing the source. I made a public statement, revealing that we were completely financially independent after our marriage, and even showed our prenuptial agreement. I stood before the public, no longer just the man who got ahead by relying on his wife, but her husband, her shield, the one who would stand up for her. 3 days later, the tech team traced the source of the attack. It was orchestrated by her most trusted vice president, Zhang Mingli. He had secretly signed an agreement with a rival company, promising to destroy Jiang Muan in exchange for shares in a restructured Jiang Corporation. That day, I accompanied her to the board meeting. During the open session, I publicly cast my vote for his dismissal. She wore stud earrings and a gray-white suit, standing perfectly straight. Her voice was calm. From this day forward, Zhang Mingli is no longer a member of the Jiang Corporation. Thunderous applause erupted. She turned to look at me, a glimmer in her eyes. Lin Yuchen, thank you. I smiled. CEO Jiang, consider it my wifely duty. Her eyes reddened. She walked to my side, gently took my hand, and intertwined her fingers with mine. At that moment, I knew that no matter what storms lay ahead, I was willing to walk with her to the very end. Jiang Muan's pregnancy came a month after the storm had passed. That day, she threw up twice in the morning. I thought it was due to too much stress and insisted on taking her for a full checkup. The doctor said she's 6 weeks pregnant. The fetus is healthy. She froze, speechless for a full 5 seconds. I held her hand, my heart pounding with an excitement like I'd won the lottery, but I didn't dare to celebrate too soon. Do you want to keep it? She nodded, then asked me in a low voice, do you want it? My eyes instantly reddened. I want you by my side for the rest of my life, and I want even more for there to be a little you in our home. On the way home, she sat in the passenger seat, not saying a word, just staring blankly out the window. I drove with extreme care, taking turns at half my usual speed. Muan, what are you thinking about? Her voice was very soft. My mother. Should be easy to convince. But your mother, will she agree? My hands on the steering will pause for a moment. Yes, she was right. With my mother's overbearing personality, she'd already had plenty of criticism for her. Now, knowing she was pregnant, there was no telling what she would say. Sure enough, the call came that very evening. Lin Yuchen, she's pregnant and you don't even tell the family? Do you have any sense of duty as a son? I looked at Jiang Muan, who was in the kitchen attentively making soup for me, and lowered my voice to a whisper. She's still weak. Don't be so loud. I've said it before, she's not fit to be a mother. She works all day like a man. How can she possibly take care of a child if she's pregnant? I couldn't listen anymore. She's not like a man. She's more capable than most men. What kind of potion has she given you? If she was so great, how come no one protected her when the trouble started and the company almost collapsed? That sentence stabbed me right in the heart. I didn't say another word and just hung up the phone. That night, she leaned on my shoulder and asked softly, did your mom say bad things about me again? I didn't answer, just pulled her into my arms. No matter what she says, you are my wife and the mother of my child. I only listen to you. She hugged me, her hands quietly tightening their grip. Then you have to promise me, even after we have the child, you can't forget that I'm your wife. I bent down and kissed her forehead. As long as you want, I'll be a husband only to you for my entire life. We didn't tell anyone and quietly got through the first trimester. She continued to work during the day and started doing prenatal yoga at night. Sometimes she was so tired her face turned pale. It pained me to see, but I knew she was fighting to preserve her dignity as Xiao Jiang. She's the kind of person who doesn't let go easily, so I have to be strong enough to catch her in the moment she does. Some people say marriage is a tug of war, but between us, it was never about one giving way to the other, but about pulling each other forward. She is the heiress of the Jiang family, a beauty beyond reach. But she is also my wife, the girl I will willingly cherish for a lifetime. The day the child was born, the rain was torrential. Before she was wheeled into the delivery room, she gripped my hand tightly, her hair damp with cold sweat. I leaned down and kissed her forehead, my voice so soft only she could hear. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. She bit her lip and managed a smile. I'm not scared. I just suddenly have a craving for strawberry cake. I'll buy you 10 after you give birth. She laughed until tears came to her eyes. As the nurse pushed her into the delivery room, she didn't forget to add, remember not to let your mom in. She'll be too noisy for me. I agreed, but I never expected that this sentence would become the trigger for a direct confrontation between my mother and me. The baby was a boy, his cries loud and strong. When the doctor brought him out, I was so overcome with emotion that my whole body was shaking. I rushed into the hospital room behind the nurse. She had just been stitched up and her face was pale, but her eyes were shining like stars. Lin Yuchen, I did it. You're amazing. Choking back tears, I leaned down and kissed her hand. Not long after, my mother arrived. She was overjoyed, beaming while holding the baby, but then her expression visibly chilled a few degrees as she saw Jiang Yuan on the hospital bed. It hasn't been easy for you, but at least you've finally secured an heir for our Lin family. As soon as the words left her mouth, my brows furrowed. Yuan said nothing, merely giving her a faint glance before turning to rest her head on my shoulder, closing her eyes. My mother scoffed. What kind of attitude is that? Are you annoyed that I'm here? I stepped between them, my tone devoid of its usual politeness. Mom, can you please not stir up trouble right after she's given birth? I'm just speaking the truth. She's already not gentle enough, and now she's given birth to a son. Are you suggesting you'll listen to only her from now on? I lost my temper. My wife gave birth to my child. If you want to find fault, please do it at home. Here, shut up. My mother's face flushed crimson with anger. Are you her dog? Does she tell you to bark and you bark? Yuan suddenly opened her eyes and calmly said, Auntie, perhaps we can meet less often in the future. I married your son, not you. I said, word for word, Mom, I won't let her be wrong for your sake. If you love me, please respect the wife I've chosen. The air instantly solidified. My mother stared at us in a daze, her eyes churning with anger and resentment. In the end, she slammed the door and left the ward. I thought she would give me the silent treatment or make a fuss, but the next day, she packed her bags and went back to her hometown, even blocking me on WeChat. I asked Jiang Yuan, do you regret it? She shook her head, her gaze soft. No regrets. You're the man I chose, and standing up for me is what you should do. I took her hand and solemnly kissed it. Then I'll continue to be your man, never resigning. She smiled. Don't get too proud. I gave birth to a big, healthy boy for you, you know. Yes, I'll work for you my whole life. My salary is your smile, which makes my heart race. She glared at me while coaxing the baby. That's sickening, but the corners of her mouth secretly turned upward. Our lives completely changed from then on. With a child came the mundane realities of life, with quarrels and squabbles, but also a deeper bond. During the day, she presided over board meetings. At night, she came home to change our son's diapers, her back aching from exhaustion, yet she never complained. And I learned to cook, to change diapers, to comfort him when he cried at night. We became known as a model couple in the eyes of others. But only we knew this wasn't about being a model. It was about willing companionship. She was the precious lady I held in my palm, and I was the man she trusted to her very core. Neither of us relied solely on the other. Instead, we ran towards each other together until the very end. Today was Saturday. I woke up early to find Jiang Yuan not in bed. Going downstairs, I saw her kneeling on the carpet, staring intently and seriously at our little one. Our little one wore a t-shirt emblazoned with Little Overlord and sat on the floor, clutching half a carrot stick, munching away with great relish. I asked, what are you two doing? A morning staring contest? She didn't even look up. I'm teaching him to speak. Oh, She pointed to herself. Come on, baby, say mama. The little one looked up at her, then continued to chew his carrot. She persisted. Baby, look at me, ma. Ma. Say ma. I stifled a laugh. Aren't you afraid he'll think you're scolding him? She glared at me. You shut up. Don't corrupt my son. I raised my hands in surrender, just about to head to the kitchen to make breakfast, when a mumbled little baby voice suddenly came from behind me. Papa. I froze. I turned around to see our little one grinning at me. Then he repeated, Papa. My heart pounded. I almost burst into tears right there, and Jiang Yuan's face instantly darkened. She stared at me, looking utterly disbelieving. Lin Yuchen, have you been secretly teaching him to speak behind my back? I quickly shook my head. I swear, I didn't teach him anything. She gritted her teeth, looking at our little one. Is this all you're good for? Mama has been feeding you, changing your diapers, getting up 30 times in the middle of the night since you were born, and you call him Papa? The little one seemed startled by her. His little mouth puckered, and his eyes instantly reddened. Voa, 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 no, no, no. I quickly picked up our son, patting and comforting him. Mama just spoke a little loudly. She loves you too, really. Jiang Yuan was furious, but managed to suppress a shout. She took a deep breath, forced a gentle smile for our son. Baby, don't cry. Let's try again. Mama, come in, Mama. The little one gave her a wronged look, sniffled, and then suddenly said, Baba. Me? Jiang Yuan. The air was still for 3 seconds. She stood up abruptly. I'm done practicing. Who wants to be a mom anyway? I sat on the sofa, holding our little cub, roaring with laughter. The child started laughing too, and my wife was so mad she started pacing on the spot. Lin Yuchen, you just wait. You're not allowed in the bedroom tonight. Hey. Honey, it's not that serious, is it? Your son doesn't even recognize me anymore. What do I need you for? Then hit me to vent your anger. I absolutely won't fight back. Get lost. She turned and went upstairs. Watching her proud, sulking back, I couldn't stop laughing. The little cub was still grinning. I stroked his head and whispered, Your mom is jealous. We'll bring her a strawberry cake later to apologize. Got it? The little cub said in his milky voice, Si, Gisgivito. I sighed. You really inherited your mom's mouth. You're quick to learn from anyone. These days, chaotic and lively, weren't grand or epic, but every second was worth remembering. Because this was the truest happiness, written together by her, me, and our child. Sunlight streamed through the car window. Jiang Yuan leaned on my shoulder, holding our already sleeping little cub. This was our first trip with the child, our destination a small town by the sea. Soft music played in the car. I held her hand, feeling an indescribable sense of peace. Lin Yuchen, are you ready? On this trip, I won't allow you to mess things up again. I raised an eyebrow. When did I mess up? Don't bring up that time I booked the wrong hotel room. She shot me a glare. That's because you didn't listen to my suggestion. You were trying to save money, and that's why there was a problem. I smiled and ruffled her hair. All right, I'll listen to you this time. After arriving in the small town, the sea breeze brushed against our faces, carrying a salty scent in the air. Jiang Yuan changed into a loose dress and beach sandals. She held the little cub's hand, her steps light and quick. The little cub was a bit afraid of the waves and kept trying to hide in my arms. I picked him up and taught him how to dig in the sand with his little shovel. He giggled, his laughter as crisp as a bell. Daddy, sand. I laughed. That's right, sand is sand. She watched from the side, her eyes full of doting affection. You two are truly my treasures. At dinner, we sat in a small seaside restaurant. Jiang Yuan raised her glass and gently clinked it against mine. Lin Yuchen, thank you for walking with me through so many difficulties. I squeezed her hand. From now on, we'll face the storms together. I'm counting on you at home. She smiled. Don't be so serious. I'm just a pampered young lady who knows how to act cute. I lowered my head and kissed her forehead. Then if you act cute, I'll surrender. I'll be your soldier for a lifetime. The little cub, sitting beside us, reached out and tugged my hair. Daddy, smile. She and I looked at each other and smiled, feeling that this was the most ordinary yet warmest kind of happiness. After the baby was born, our family life became busier and more interesting. Jiang Yuan's career gradually took off. She landed several major projects one after another, as busy as a spinning top. I took care of the baby, cooked and cleaned at home, as busy as a full-time butler, but I enjoyed it. However, pressure and friction were inevitable. One time, Jiang Yuan worked late into the night, and I took the child to her office to pick her up. When she came out, her tired face wore a rare smile. Yuchen, sorry to keep you waiting so long. I smiled and handed the child to her. It's fine, he and I were playing hide and seek. She laughed, her gaze softening. You're such a good father. I sighed, but I'd rather be your husband. She froze for a moment, a glimmer in her eyes. The peace of our family was shattered by a sudden incident. Someone within her company started spreading rumors that she was marrying up to advance her career. Jiang Yuan was down for a few days and even considered resigning to avoid the turmoil. I took her hand. You are the strongest young lady. Don't let rumors defeat you. She gritted her teeth. I'm afraid I can't hold on. I held her tight. No matter what, I'm on your side. We started investigating together, eventually found the culprit, and crushed the rumors with facts. This incident made her trust me even more and strengthened my resolve to protect our family. Although the relationship between my wife and my mother had its ups and downs, Jiang Yuan became increasingly adept at resolving conflicts with wisdom, and I, too, learned more skills to balance both sides. The child gradually grew up and could say Daddy and Mommy. Every time he called my name, I couldn't help but want to laugh. The three of us hugged in the warm sunlight. Life wasn't perfect, but it was full of love and hope. One morning, I had just dropped Jiang Yuan off at her company. As I was heading downstairs to get her child, I suddenly received a call from her. Yuchen, we have a bit of a problem today. There's a new development in the company's slander case. The other party, they're targeting my mom. My brow furrowed. What do you mean? Someone is intentionally driving a wedge between you and your mom, and they even got her to say some things to the media that are damaging to me. Hearing this, my heart sank. I quickly told her not to worry and that I would go home immediately to talk to my mom. When I got home, I asked directly, Mom, what have you been saying about Jiang Yuan lately? She snorted. I was just telling the truth. With her naivety, your wife simply doesn't act the way a good daughter-in-law should. I gritted my teeth. She is my wife, the person I chose. If you don't respect her, you don't respect me. She gave a cold smile. I respect you, of course, but with a personality like hers, how is she fit to be a daughter-in-law of our Lin family? I fell silent for a second. Then my tone became firm. Mom, this home doesn't belong to you alone. I need you to respect her and respect our family. Otherwise, I will make you leave our lives completely. The atmosphere grew tense. In the end, she stormed out, slamming the door. When Jiang Yuan found out, she came to my house that night, her eyes red. Yuchen, maybe we really aren't suited to be together. I held her hand, my voice soft. No matter how many difficulties there are, I will never let go of your hand. We'll face them together. She nodded, smiling through her tears. I believe you. At work, she encountered a scheming competitor who was constantly trying to undermine her behind her back. One time, she was called into a meeting room and subjected to endless sarcasm and ridicule. When I found out, I took our son to her company to personally cheer her on. My lady, no matter how many storms lie ahead, don't forget I'm always behind you. She looked back at me, her gaze firm. With you, I fear nothing. As time passed, we slowly resolved the turmoil, and the relationship between her and my mother also began to ease. My mom would occasionally come to see her grandson, and the frosty look on her face started to melt. Jiang Yuan's career reached a new level, and my own work saw promotions as well. Most importantly, our family of three remained tightly knit. Nothing could tear us apart. Late one night, holding our sleeping child, I watched Jiang Yuan softly. She smiled, tired but happy, and whispered, "Thank you for letting me dare to love and dare to be loved." I kissed her forehead. My lady, I want to spend a lifetime protecting you. This road, though bumpy, was one we would walk down together forever. Just when we thought all the turmoil was gradually subsiding, fate dealt us another heavy blow. One day, Jiang Yuan received an anonymous email containing photos of her with a mysterious man. In the photos, they were talking intimately, their expressions ambiguous. The email also had a caption, "Do you really know the secrets of this lady?" Panicked, Jiang Yuan came to me immediately. "Yuchen, what is going on? I don't know this person at all." I frowned. "Don't panic. I'll help you figure this out." As the investigation deepened, we discovered that the man was one of Jiang Yuan's professional competitors. He had used sophisticated forgery techniques to create these composite photos, intending to smear her reputation. Even more terrifying, a high-level executive at our company was involved. He wanted to seize power and intended to use this to attack Jiang Yuan and, in turn, force me to step down. The news hit me like a bucket of cold water. I knew that this opponent was not just a rival at work, but someone determined to destroy our family. Jiang Yuan's face was pale, but a fighting spirit ignited in her eyes. "No matter how they slander me, I will not back down." I clenched my fists. "We'll fight back together and bring the truth into the light." We formulated a detailed plan, hired top technical experts and a legal team, and began to gather evidence. Meanwhile, the undercurrents within the company grew more turbulent. My mother was also drawn into the storm. She began to question my choices and my relationship with Jiang Yuan, and our conflict escalated to a boiling point. During one fierce argument, I asked her, "Mom, are you on my side or on the side of these power games?" She replied coldly, "I just hope you aren't being used. Don't let Jiang Yuan ruin you." I shouted back, "Jiang Yuan is my choice. She is not a destroyer. She is my hope for the future." After the fight, I became even more determined to protect her. On the very night before we were to reveal the truth, with all the evidence prepared, Jiang Yuan suddenly disappeared. Her phone was off. There was no word from her. Frantic, I searched everywhere and finally found her in a remote warehouse. She had been coerced and had some scrapes, but her expression was resolute. "Yuchen, don't worry about me. Get that evidence to the police first." My eyes welled up with tears. "No, I can't lose you." Taking advantage of their unpreparedness, I used the pre-prepared cell phone signal locator. The police arrived and arrested the kidnappers. After Jiang Yuan returned safely, we embraced and wept. This time, we both knew that we were each other's strongest support. After the storm, we stood together in the sunlight, having endured so many trials. She said to me, "Yuchen, thank you for being willing to hold my hand in my darkest hours." I replied with a smile, "Miss, no matter how difficult the road ahead, with me here, you will never be alone." After the kidnapping, Jiang Yuan recovered quickly, but the resilience in her eyes was now tinged with a hint of vigilance. She said, "Yuchen, we can't be passive anymore. I'm going to take the initiative and root out the source of all this." I nodded. "You say the word, and we'll do it together." We began to secretly investigate the movements within the company and discovered that the high-level figure behind the scenes was secretly conducting many dirty deals, not only targeting Jiang Yuan, but also implicating many innocent colleagues. At the same time, my relationship with Jiang Yuan grew deeper amidst the storm. The child gradually grew older and could say mama and dada. Although there was pressure at home, it was also filled with warmth. One evening, while Jiang Yuan was busy preparing materials in the living room, I walked over and gently put my arm around her shoulders. "Miss, are you tired? Let's take a break tonight and spend some time with the little one, okay?" She turned to look at me and smiled, her eyes soft with a gentle light. As long as you're here, anywhere is home." But just as we thought the storm was about to pass, an unexpected turn of events quietly approached. I had just breathed a sigh of relief when I received an anonymous text message. "You think the truth is that simple? You still don't know about the bigger conspiracy behind it all." Attached to the message was a recording of a secret conversation between Jiang Yuan and that high-level figure. Clearly edited, its content was vague and indistinct, yet was enough to make one doubt her allegiance. A chill went through me as I looked at the recording. I immediately called Jiang Yuan. She answered, her voice a little flustered. "Yuchen, this is definitely a setup to frame me. We need to get a lawyer and investigate this recording." I nodded. "No matter what happens, I believe you." Jiang Yuan took a deep breath. "Thank you. With you here, I'm not afraid. But the power struggle among the company's senior management intensified, and the media began to hype up the so-called Mrs. Breach of Trust news. Jiang Yuan was pushed into the eye of the storm. Facing public doubt, she, contrary to her usual self, began to fight back more proactively. She used her connections and power to dismantle her opponent's plan step by step. Meanwhile, I did everything in my power to protect her family, manage my relationship with my mother, and ensure her child's safety. My mother finally took the initiative to have a heart-to-heart with Jiang Yuan, a new understanding in her eyes. Child, I misjudged you. Jiang Yuan is a strong woman, and she is also my son's happiness. Moved, Jiang Yuan held her hand. Auntie, thank you. After the storm, an important business press conference, Jiang Yuan publicly revealed the truth and brought the mastermind to justice. That night, the three of us stood on the balcony, looking at the city lights. She nestled in my arms, the child giggling between us. I whispered, Miss, from now on, no matter how fierce the storm, I will be there to hold the umbrella for you. She looked up at me, her eyes glistening with tears. I know you, Chen. We will never be apart. As the night deepened, the city lights twinkled outside the window, as if narrating our story. Tempered by the storm, Jiang Yuan became more resolute and learned to better cherish the happiness before her. One weekend, I woke up early and prepared her favorite breakfast. The child was still asleep. I gently woke her. Miss, it's time for breakfast. She rubbed her eyes, and the corners of her mouth lifted slightly when she saw the fried eggs and warm milk on the table. Yu-Chen, you're so thoughtful. The three of us sat together as sunlight streamed through the curtains, casting a warm glow on our child. He giggled and reached out his little hand to grasp our fingers. At that moment, I knew that all the hardships had been worth it. However, in these peaceful days, a new trial was always bound to arrive unannounced. Jiang Yuan received a call from a stranger, their tone complex. Miss, there are some things you must know. Her expression changed drastically. She squeezed my hand. Yu-Chen, it seems our story is far from over. I held her hand tightly, my gaze firm. No matter how difficult the road ahead, I will walk it with you to the very end. The mysterious call was from an unknown woman who claimed to be Jiang Yuan's biological sister. Her voice trembled slightly. Yuan, I'm your sister. There are so many things we never had the chance to clarify. Your mother hid many secrets back then. Jiang Yuan was stunned, silent for a long time. Sister, why are you only showing up now? A choked voice came from the other end of the line. Because it's dangerous. We're all being watched. Behind that mastermind, there's an even greater power. I squeezed Jiang Yuan's hand, my heart in turmoil. Family, power, secrets, conspiracies. What we were facing this time wasn't just a workplace enemy, but a family entanglement that had been hidden for many years. Yu-Chen, no matter what, we can't back down. I nodded. My lady, I'm here. Together, we will uncover all the truth. The night breeze brushed past the windowsill. That unknown future seemed to be right before our eyes, but no matter how difficult, we would walk through it hand in hand. The morning sun spilled into the room. Jiang Yuan woke up in a daze to find I had already made breakfast. Her favorite strawberry yogurt was on the table. She smiled and pinched my cheek. Yu-Chen, you're being so good. Are you trying to make me surrender again? I feigned seriousness. My lady, when you act cute, I want to surrender immediately. She leaned in playfully and gently nibbled the corner of my lip. So, do you want to be kissed by me today too? I couldn't stop smiling. This is the moment I look forward to most all day. Our son ran over, giggling and clapping his hands. Mommy, Daddy, time to eat. The family of three sat around the table, filled with warmth. No matter how complicated the world outside, the happiness at home was the most solid fortress. Jiang Yuan picked up our son and said softly, no matter what the future holds, with you too, I have nothing to fear. I held her hand tightly. My lady, I want to be kissed by you every day from now on. In the afternoon, Jiang Yuan was suddenly struck with an idea and pulled me and our son to cook together. Wearing an apron, she looked very serious, clumsily chopping vegetables and almost cutting her finger. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. My lady, Don't hold the knife so fiercely. Our son is staring in shock. Our son imitated his mother's movements, clumsily chopping vegetables with his small hands, making a mess of vegetable bits all over the table. Jiang Yuan looked at our son and bloomed into a smile like a flower. It seems our family's future great chef needs a lot more practice. I moved closer and gently hugged her. Don't worry, no matter what you cook, I'll fight to eat it. She bit her lip lightly. I know you're lying. What you actually love most is the burnt flavor I make. I pretended to be angry. Who burnt it? It tastes better with a charred fragrance. Our son giggled and patted my face. Daddy, it smells good. Laughter filled the kitchen, and the house was permeated with the scent of warmth and happiness. After dinner, the three of us snuggled on the sofa. Jiang Yuan leaned on my shoulder, and our son hugged his little teddy bear. I said in a low voice, "My lady, I want to be kissed by you today, too." She blinked and gently planted a kiss on my forehead. Good boy. Same tomorrow. Life might have its storms, but at this moment, we were all immersed in a harbor of love. After waves of turmoil and undercurrents, Jiang Yuan finally stood at the pinnacle of victory. With tenacity and wisdom, she cleared all obstacles, not only clearing her own name, but also exposing the dark forces hidden behind the scenes. At that grand celebration banquet, under the brilliant lights, I held her hand, my heart filled with pride and gratitude. Jiang Yuan whispered in my ear, "Yu Chen, without you, I could never have made it to this day." I smiled and squeezed her hand back. "My lady, no matter the storms in the future, I will face them with you." After the banquet, we returned to our warm little home. The child was fast asleep in his room, and the stars shone brightly outside the window. Jiang Yuan leaned in my arms and said softly, "All this effort was just to give you and me the best possible future." I held her tighter. Then together, let's live well and be happy. The pain and misunderstandings of the past were finally replaced by love and trust. The story isn't over because our life has just begun. The future holds countless unknowns, but as long as we have each other, we have the most solid support.